Hey guys, today we're gonna cook the most boring piece of meat on the planet, the pork tenderloin. Now there's a reason when you see pork tenderloin in the store, it often comes marinated, it comes pre-seasoned, it comes cut up into little rounds and on a skewer that you can put on the grill, because they can't sell them because it's stupid and it has no flavor. But I had one in the fridge and I don't want to buy anything, so that's what we're gonna cook today. And I'm gonna show you, I've got an idea, I think, to give it some more flavor. And as usual, we're gonna start with some good quality wood. Here I have some oak wood left over after Hurricane Irma last year. And here I have my pet snake. I haven't seen him yet, or her. Haven't named him yet. Drop me a comment and let me know what you think I should name this guy. Not sure how big it is because I broke the shed when I was pulling it out. Hopefully it's just a chicken snake. Anytime you cook with wood, it's very important that your wood is good and dry. This wood's been sitting under this cover for just over a year now. When your wood isn't dry enough, you end up with dirty smoke that tastes bitter and over-smoked, and I just don't recommend it. I'm going to split the wood one more time so that I'm not sitting here all day waiting for this fire to burn down. I stack the wood so that there's lots of space for air to flow through as it burns down, and then light it with my blowtorch. Well, there's no sense in wasting all this perfectly good heat while the fire burns down, so I'm just going to set some acorn squash just here off to the side so they can begin warming up. While the fire's warming up, we're going to clean the silver skin off of this pork loin. This is something they often come trimmed, but if it's not, you can get your butcher to do this for you. Now to my favorite part. We get to pound this thing flat. I've just got a stick. You can use anything. You can use a meat pounder, you can use a small pot, doesn't matter. The goal is to just get it flat, drawn out, and increase the surface area. By increasing the surface area, it's going to take on more seasoning, more char, and more flavor altogether. Just try and get it about less than half an inch, between a half inch and a quarter inch, and then just try and smooth it out with whatever you have. Now let's make a rub. Here I have some salt, some black pepper, a little bit of garlic powder, a little bit of cumin, and a lot of chili powder. This is super simple. It's what I had on hand. Doesn't matter. As long as it's got these basic flavors going on, you make it however you like. And I'm just going to season it liberally on both sides. After I get the seasoning rubbed in, I'm going to drizzle some olive oil and rub that in. This is going to help us get a nice brown char on the outside. Now it's time to put this guy on the grill. Now these acorn squash that you see here, I've had these next to the fire the whole time. Now because this meat is so thin, it's going to cook super quickly, so you want a hot fire. I also threw a poblano chili on the grate to roast while this finishes. And we're going to pull this thing up in just a couple minutes. Now the meat's done and I've taken the grate off of the coals, and we're going to finish everything else directly on the coals. All of this is going to get peeled, so don't worry about any of the ash or anything burning. It's not going to burn, I promise you. So these guys are just going to sit here on the coals until they get charred on the outside, just like that. We're going to wrap this guy up so he can steam so I can peel that skin off later. Introducing Thelma. Or Louise. I'm not really sure. I can't tell them apart. They're both blacked. But she's always trying to get in on the action. I know it smells good, but it's not for you. Sorry. While I was hanging out with Thelma, this poblano chili was steaming in the foil. You let it sit in the foil so that the skin will soften and separate from the flesh, and then you can just peel it off easily with your fingers like this. Now that I got it peeled, I'm going to clean the ribs and the seeds from the inside and dice this up. Here I have a little bit of fresh oregano that I've washed and dried, and I'm just going to strip it off the stem and chop it up finely. Now I know this looks rough now, but you're going to see. You just wipe the ash right off. It comes completely clean, and it honestly looks pretty good. So we're just going to break this squash down. I'm going to cut it in half, and I'm going to scoop all of the seeds out of it. Once the squash is cool enough to handle, use your knife to help you pull the skin off. I like to cut it into little strips and take it off a section at a time, or if you're lucky you can get a big chunk like that. Now that I've got this guy cleaned up, we're going to break it down into half-inch cubes for our roasted acorn squash and poblano hash. Now it's time to assemble this hash. I'm going to season it up with a little bit of salt, and for sweetness I'm going to use some birch syrup. It's like maple syrup, but it's made from the birch tree, and it's got an awesome, really complex flavor that I think is going to go really well with everything else. Here we're adding the fresh oregano, and we're going to finish everything off with the diced poblano chilies. The poblanos add a little bit of heat, a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of smokiness. It really goes super well with any winter squash. I really recommend trying the combination of pumpkin squash, butternut squash, acorn squash, any of that with chili peppers. I love it. I'm just going to serve the squash right on top of the pork and finish it with a little lime juice. And if you're wondering if there's a big piece of the meat missing off the left side, well, I got hungry while I was making the video, so. I know this isn't the best looking dish in the world, but I gotta tell you, I look forward to making it again. This is something I just kind of threw together that night, and I couldn't believe it how good it was. The sweetness of the acorn squash with the smokiness of the pork and the chilies and the poblano and the lime juice, there's just so much flavor. I'll never go back to normal pork tenderloin. Thanks for watching, everybody. If there's anything you would like for me to make, just let me know in the comments below, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.